My dear viewers, beginning today is the official Alliteration Gaming Patreon and channel members. Throughout my Patreon, we've got quite a few tiers you can check out in order to gain special perks and even commission videos that you'd like to see me upload onto the channel. Every tier includes a shout out on my supporter card at the beginning of all of my videos, along with the benefits of the tier itself. Following that, you can now also join the Alliteration Nation by becoming a channel member on the YouTube side of things. Pledging your subscription here as a member of the channel is going to grant you the same shout out on my supporter card as all the Patreon tiers do, as well as access to the members only channel on my Discord. You'll gain a member badge that will level up as you stay subscribed and access to my exclusive emotes when I stream on YouTube. If you're interested in checking out the Patreon, I'm going to have the link in the description and in the pinned comment down below, as well as the link to my Discord should you want to join that as well. And if you want to become a channel member, the big beautiful join button is front and center on my homepage right here. And if you do decide to support the channel in any way whatsoever, know that I am unimaginably grateful, and I can't wait to provide you with even more top-notch content at my trademark top speed. Now, let's get on to the video. Good evening, my dear viewers. Welcome to another Alliteration Gaming video. My name's Levi, and today, my good patron Brandon has put me up to the task on spotlighting a character who I actually have a lot of experience with and really enjoy playing. That's going to be none other than the up-and-coming young pro and the member of Team Lurkers, Kamui Woods. Kamui Woods is a 7-hand size character with 20 health. Being the master of nature that he is, he's got the elements all across his symbols in air, earth, and water. Kamui is a deceptively simple character with some very straightforward abilities, but they can pull a lot of weight. His enhance allows him to commit himself to put a blanket 1 damage buff on all his attacks and a 1 damage penalty on his rival's moves. Now that might not seem like a lot at first, but it's when his response comes in that this can start to get very, very threatening. Every time you block your rival's attack or they block yours, Kamui gets to ready himself back up to commit again. This response is so fantastic and just so versatile. Obviously, the big draw here is that when you're ready to go in on a big chain of moves, every single block is going to let you keep stacking those blanket damage buffs all across your attacks, eventually resulting in every single move having 2, 3, maybe even 4 damage on it. His response can also be incredibly resource advantageous. Committing Kamui as a resource just to pass your checks every time and then readying him on block is just a massive resource swing, effectively giving you +1 ready foundation every time you either succeed in a block or your rival tries to stop you. No matter whose turn it is, every single commit of Kamui is going to grow your branches more and more, eventually completely ensnaring your rival and leaving them totally powerless. So Kamui is fantastic at stacking damage after damage buff on his moves, but what are those moves? Well, now it's time to get into one of Kamui's greatest strengths, and that's how absolutely generic he is. Kamui is not concerned about keywords or traits in the slightest, so he's very free to make use of whatever the best generic value attacks are all across his symbols, and there's definitely a lot of them available to us. Air, earth, and water all have tons of conditionless value across their moves, but they're also home to some of the strongest attack packages around. The charge package on air, the punch package on earth, and the range package on water are all very easy to learn and have great synergies with each other. The charge and punch packages also promote really long, wide attack strings, which is exactly how we want to be attacking as Kamui. Being able to get the most value out of our global damage buffs with multiple successive attacks is the name of the game. Draw these long strings out further and further, putting your rival in tough situations every time they decide if they can afford to block or not, and let you just strengthen your binds on them. You pair those packages with focus on attacks that generate duplicates of themselves like Meteor Shower and Relentless Barrage, and you just watch the damage stack up like crazy across a long series of moves. So it sounds like our offense is pretty in the bag. Let's talk some defense. The best part about Kamui's abilities is that as good as they are on the attack, they're just as good when it's time to put your blocks up. Kamui's ability to continuously use himself as a resource to pay for blocks is so powerful. You can also also just use him to slowly sap away at the rival's attack damage, really punishing them if they're playing decks that focus on long strings of these several small damage moves. Now pair those abilities with the immaculate defense of his symbols and you've got a wooden wall. Kamui's symbol spread has access to some of the best defensive pieces in the game, with a myriad of ways to reduce speed and make blocking over and over again so easy. You should absolutely be utilizing them to keep him alive through even the toughest of onslaughts. These symbols have lots of other defensive tech too, through being able to stop throws and combos with face shield, clogging the card pool with cheerful uppercut, or just piling tons of breaker on. There's lots of options here for a character that loves blocking. Now don't forget your aggressive tech as well. Foundations that provide blanket aggressive value across the whole turn have great synergy with how Kamui wants to attack. Doubling down on your character's enhance with prone to dry eyes, or being able to make your attacks that much harder to block alongside your damage buffs with things like One with Nature and Snack Time can both go a really long way towards closing out games. Speaking of synergy with your character, let's talk about some of the unique ways we can use Kamui due to how he functions. First off, cards like Petty Squabble that ask you to commit your character as a cost are so powerful here. These cards usually pack a big benefit for such a heavy cost, but we mitigate that weight tenfold thanks to Kamui's response. Next up is how Kamui can take advantage of some nuances of the rulebook. It is a living game rule that you're allowed to commit your character to pay for costs. That's the reason we're able to commit them to pass checks after all. So cards that ask us to commit a foundation as part of their cost actually allow us to commit Kamui for them, letting us keep our important foundations ready and live while our character readies himself constantly. This interaction makes Kamui a defensive powerhouse in tandem with Rescue completed. Lastly, our character is going to be committed non-stop, so any cards that ask for that as a requirement, such as Exhausted Exclamation, are just going to be completely conditionless for us. Last but not least, let's talk about actions and assets. Earth and Air have some of the best generic actions in the game, like Sugar Rush and Season the Advantage, so they're always worthy includes to at least consider. There's also a few nice assets across our symbols as well, and Sports Festival Stadium is really nice to put even more blocking pressure on our rival alongside Kamui. And that's going to conclude our showcase today on Kamui Woods. Big thanks again to Brandon for commissioning this video, and if you enjoyed or even learned anything from it, I would really appreciate some feedback via the like button, and if you want more quality content like this, the subscribe button is the thing to Texas smash. And if that just doesn't quite do it for you, you could also hit the join button to become a channel member, supporting my work even further and scoring some sweet perks like badges and emotes when I stream on YouTube. And if you want to commission your very own video like this, you can check out my Patreon to select your own character for me to cover, or any of my other tiers to further show your support. I'm going to have the links to everything that I just talked about in the description and in the pinned comment below. Above all else though, thanks just for making it to the end of this video. I really appreciate you watching the whole way through. That's all the time I've got for today, but I hope I'll see you around in the next one.